Hello, people. Look, I'm very excited for what happened tonight. I am very the gratitude I have for my subscribers is, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's very substantial, is what I mean to say. And I do not have a script for this video because that's for losers. But the fact is, though, and the truth is actually, that I have hit over 200 subscribers today, and that is all thanks to you guys. And now, let me tell you something. I did not have high expectations for this channel when I began it, and I didn't put a lot of effort into it, but really, I am kind of impressed with myself and you guys. So, I want to appreciate you in the beginning of this video, and let's get on to the analysis, which is the main point of this video, over the primaries that took place on August 4th of, I believe, 2020, the year of our Lord Jesus Christ, right? Now, if we go into these races individually speaking, we have approximately Roger Marshall winning by 13%. You have, of course, Chris Kobach, who was winning bigly, and Bob Hamilton losing bigly, alright? So sorry, Chris Kobach was losing bigly, but there is a glitch on the website, so yeah, I feel really weird today. Basically, if you add all these numbers up, it does not prove that Roger Marshall's approved greatly, but it does show that Kobach is disapproved pretty well in the Republican Party, to be completely fair. And when you also look in the fact that if you look at the plurality that Marshall has, it is not even over 45%. So his party mandate is not awesome, but at the same time, you don't need much of a mandate when you're running as a Republican in a federal election in Kansas, right? So in terms of this win, I honestly rathered Chris Kobach win, and I even mentioned it in my prior video that Chris Kobach was more aligned in my ideas in terms of immigration and a lot of other issues, but at the same time, I don't think that this is a super big deal. What you need to understand, guys, is that the Senate and the Congress doesn't really vote on immigration issues very often, so the differentiation in terms of different policies isn't a big deal. That's what I think. Now, guys, please believe me when I say that I support Chris Kobach over Roger Marshall, but I really also do think that Chris Kobach's career is over. And if he doesn't get picked as, let's say, Trump's DHS secretary or something along those lines, I do believe that he is done for. Which is too bad, because the guy is a little young for a politician. He's 50 years old, so he has over 20 years to do whatever the hell he wants, but with no mandate. So we're going to see in the future what he does. Now, when we look at Arizona House 1, which is a very key flippable seat and is instrumental into flipping over the Congress to the Republican Party in 2020, it is clear that Tiffany Shedd has won, and she has a pretty good issue standpoint in terms of being a generic Republican, which is pretty good when you are running in a well, Tom O'Halloran is the incumbent, and it's R+1. So that means that we do need a moderate Republican who will, hopefully with the higher margin of Trump support in 2016, will lead to the victory of Tiffany Shedd and flip that seat red. But, again, she is not really America first, so to speak. She's not a paleo-conservative from what I could tell. But Nolan Reed was more MAGA from what I've read. Not a big deal anyway. I did endorse Nolan, I believe, earlier, but didn't make a difference, of course. We look at the Maricopa County Sheriff GOP primary. Now, this is a huge election, honestly, and it's pretty sad to say this, but it is all but clear that Jerry Sheridan is going to beat Joe Arpaio, and I think Joe Arpaio is like in his 80s, right? So it's not like he was going to be a sheriff forever, and he was sheriff for decades, I believe, but I do think that keeping him in as long as possible was awesome, and he was, I think, the toughest guy on crime that I can think of. He was tougher than Jeff Sessions, that coward. He was tougher than Rudy Giuliani, who's based on that issue, and even Michael Bloomberg. I think that he enforced that immigration law, 2010, SB 150 or whatever it was. He was one of the key people that was fighting for it, and the fact is that God, it's a shame that he lost. But also, I did check out Jared Sheridan's issues page, and apparently he's really good with guns. Shooting a full auto machine gun in his video. So I do think that he's a conservative, and this is a GOP primary, so none of these candidates could be that bad, right? Well, that's not too bad. When we look at the second Senate primary that was important today, we are looking at Martha McSally versus Daniel McCarthy. His slogan was "Demand Daniel, Lamau, nobody did." Look, apparently, while Apache County isn't in right now, nobody cares. But when we look at Maricopa, we look at Pino, and we look at Pima, okay, we see universal support for Martha McSally. And if you look at all of these districts, all of these counties, Martha has support in over 70% in terms of the totals of the numbers everywhere. Even the most Hispanic part is for McSally over 70%. So clearly, we have a good candidate in terms of the Republican primary. And if we look at the data from 2018, you would see that she won 54% of the Republican vote, so the majority over three other candidates, which included, I believe, Kelly Ward, which was more MAGA at the time. And you had Joe Arpaio even run for the Senate seat after he lost, I think, in 2016 or something along those lines. So clearly, McSally has the Republican mandate. What you have to understand is that you're not going to get a far-right candidate that will win in general in Arizona. Most Republicans in Arizona are moderates. You can even see that John McCain won Arizona by like 7%, even though he got killed in every other swing state. And when you look at Romney, I think he won by 7, 8, 9, 10, I don't know, 9%. It was a great total that he got in 2012, to be fair. And I think those types of Republican moderates are what helps Arizona become safe red. But that is not an endorsement of those figures. I do not think that necessarily we have to run a complete rhino. But at the same time, Daniel McCarthy, while having the appearance of being far-right, didn't even have the added benefit of actually being that much of a conservative. In fact, when I saw his immigration platform, he basically wanted the wall and no amnesty and to deport all illegals, which is, at least should be, the standard bearer, the generic Republican slot that would be filled anyway. So not too special. Daniel got destroyed. Daniel wasn't for lowering legal immigration, so maybe that's why Nick Fuentes didn't endorse this guy. Not that that would have helped at all, because his 15-year-old groypers wouldn't have changed the vote too much. And it shows 77% goes to Martha McSally. Very big win. I congratulate Martha on this. She votes 94% with Donald Trump, and while she was more of a neocon, or not even a neocon, but moderate con, in 2013 to 2016, it is clear that after 2018, she went more towards the Trump train. She's on it right now, and it shows now. It's kind of like Lindsey Graham to a lesser extent, where it was a complete 180 from anti-Trump to pro-Trump, but so were many Republicans. Look at Ben Shapiro and others, and the differences between these two candidates isn't too big. I believe McSally was about, both pro-life, pro-Second Amendment. Yeah, that's about it. There's not too much of a difference. McSally did vote for, she helped go for an amnesty compromise deal under Trump. And Donald Trump was for this as well. So if you want to throw her under the bus, throw Donald under too. But in 2017 or 18, I believe, Donald Trump was willing for wall funding to give amnesty to DACA or something like that. And Martha was for it. And Martha individually wanted to make a deal that in exchange for border security, we would get DACA veterans amnesty, which, the DACA people are like not even 25% of the illegal immigrant population right now. And of those that are veterans is like not even half. So in reality, you're giving amnesty to a fraction of 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 the illegal immigrant population, and they're already veterans, so they're probably very well vetted by the military at that point, and they did risk their lives in joining the military. So I do think that they debatably deserve legalization, maybe not citizenship, but clearly maybe not deport them right away. So I think that was a good choice, a good compromise that in exchange for a wall and stopping illegal immigration was completely, we would give amnesty to a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of those illegals that are in here anyway. That seems like a good deal to me. But guys, don't call me a neocon for that. I mean, that's very reasonable, and if you're not for that, then clearly you're not getting the legislative process, okay? It's a give and take. And this is the other thing. Daniel McCarthy said, bring for Martha to be pro-life is not enough in the Senate. Are you kidding me? When was the last time the Senate voted on life? The fact is that we're not going to have a vote on life probably in a while, and we haven't had one for over a decade that I think happened. The pro-life thing is more of a Supreme Court issue. The Senate and the legislature do not have too much to do with that, so that's kind of irrelevant, honestly. And anyways, pro-life is popular in Arizona from what I can tell in the Republican Party, so not a big issue. And Daniel completely blew his load in this one. I mean, he people are saying, oh, I'm praying for Kobach, I'm praying for McCarthy. Yeah, whatever, dude. Okay, now let's go to Missouri Amendment 2, Medicaid expansion. Now, this is pretty important to me because god dang it. Okay, earlier it was 60% for expanding Medicaid in Missouri, and now it is up to 53, down to 53, but I saw it before at 50 to 49. So clearly it was really close. This state is pretty conservative, yes, but it is clear to me that the mandate is that by a little bit, Medicaid should be expanded. And some people, like Red Eagle, I have friends that would support a more leftist economic agenda to help with the poor people, but I simply see that helping the poor people isn't very efficient when you give them free stuff when we're deficit spending. So we're at a $2.8 trillion deficit, and the way that Medicaid expansion works, if you didn't know, was that under Obamacare, a governor could accept that, and then they get for free from the government, basically. Medicaid expanded to 211,000 people in this case for Missouri, so 211,000 poor people would get it. But after a couple years, the state government would start paying 10% out of 100, and the federal government would pay 90%, and then eventually it would get to 80% government expenditure on Medicaid to 20% statewide. So slowly the people of Missouri will find out they're getting ripped off, and clearly you may say, well, it won't cost the state, so who cares? But the federal government affects everybody, and if the federal government is in a bigger deficit, it is more likely that they're going to increase taxes on the poor and on the middle class, which in case it defeats the purpose then to give them shitty, crappy health care anyway. So that's my thing. My assumption is also that I mean this won't last forever. This mandate is not very clear, and clearly the people that voted yes were in the urban areas, and the poor people in the Republican Party don't matter too much because electorally speaking, only politically speaking, expanding Medicaid may be popular in Alabama, Arkansas, Missouri, but those states will never really matter in the proximate future for Republicans. And one thing is Donald Trump saying, I won't touch Social Security or Medicaid in the primary, and the other thing is the general election, where Hillary wouldn't have a chance in hell, or Biden has a chance in hell in winning Missouri or Alabama or Arkansas. Maybe LTE will say that, but he's an idiot. So on to the next thing. I think this is not good though, and again, people that are saying spend more money from the government must notice that we're at a $2.8 trillion deficit, which is 2.8 times larger than the deficit from last year, and that was already big enough. So we're projected at would it be maybe 11% deficit? Disgusting. We are too in debt for this crap, and we cannot afford this. If you want to have a market reform, like Rand Paul said, where we're going to give every family a $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 tax credit, and for them to buy their own insurance, I would rather that and have the prices go down through competition and just the free market, capitalism at its best, rather than give them inadequate health care through a cheap means. And I don't think politically this even helps at all. So to the Republicans that say we should go more left economically, hell no. Hell no. So that's gone. And also, well, it'll help in these states. Well, yeah, but I don't think Medicaid expansion really helps in New Hampshire or Arizona, really, or Colorado, etc. A lot of swing states. So Martha McSally wins huge. Very good job, Martha. So Jerry Sheridan wins the Maricopa County Sheriff GOP primary, which is a little bit of a shame, but Joe Arpaio also is in his 80s, I think 82 or 87 years old, something like that, and he's frankly too old to be sheriff for a long time, so I think this is for the best. That's too bad, though. And, Joe Arpaio really did well by making those illegal immigrants go to jail and, making them do, capital labor or whatever that was. It was awesome, but that's a shame. But what did we learn here? We did learn that Arizona does not want America First so-called candidates. They don't want populist, far-right candidates that don't have money or name recognition. Clearly, look at this mandate Martha McSally got. Remember, she won 77%, 78% of the primary here. In 2018, she won 54%. So she only got more popular. And the people that say, well, there's this one Ipsos poll or whatever, or Gravitas, whatever poll on RCP that says that Daniel McCarthy would lose to Mark Kelly by 2% instead of McSally losing by 6%, must realize that that pollster's not even that good. And you would know that of all people, and I'm talking about the predictions at Mafia. And I would also mention, too, that McSally, MAGA, moderate, neocon, or whatever, is literally the optimal candidate to win Arizona over a moderate Democrat, rather than a far-right conservative that did not even get Trump's endorsement, therefore is not even a MAGA candidate, so-called. Are you kidding? You're retarded if you think that Daniel would have done better, really. And then you look here. Roger Marshall, again, posting up, all yellows, yellow gang. There's piss all over Kansas. And, Kobach got destroyed. And do I feel bad for Kobach? No, not really. I think that by Trump not endorsing Marshall, which would have been the political easy way out, made Chris Kobach, he did him a massive solid, and clearly Kobach did not follow through, which is a shame. Bob Hamilton probably took votes from Kobach, but at the same time, Bob Hamilton had a good platform as well. And any Republican is better than any Democrat at the federal level that I can think of right now. So this is what happened in terms of the races. Clearly, things did not turn well for groypers or anybody to the right of Donald Trump, but I am not really, so that is good. Arizona Senate race called, okay, epic. Arizona House won. The primary is 13% away, which may not seem close, but Tom O'Halloran is an incumbent, so I do think that's pretty impressive, or not even, but very surprising that he would get, what incumbent for the first term gets primaried and the second person gets over 40%. I think that's kind of interesting to see, and it does not show his power in terms of re-election in 2020 when it's R+1, and I believe Trump is going to win Arizona by 5 to 6 points this year. And I say that because a lot of the neocons are going back to Donald Trump, and I think a lot of the Mormons that did not vote and did not turn out in 2016 will turn out this time for the conservative Donald Trump, and the Never Trumper amount is lower, obviously, so the Republicans are going to turn out bigly for Donald Trump. And then when you look at the voter registration of Maricopa with the mail-in ballots, it looks really good, or I think it was the absentee. But the point is that looks very advantageous for Donald. And then when you look at the polling for Hispanics, he is doing 33.5% on average with Hispanics in approval rating versus 29% that he got in 2016. So that's a 4% increase in the approval by Hispanics. The Hispanic population in Arizona from 2016 to 2020 probably went up by like 1 or 2%. So he's going to overall offset the demographic change by over 2% with Hispanics, which then means that he's poised to win. And remember that McSally got 30% of Hispanics in 2018 and lost by 2%. So if he does better with Hispanics, that'll just make it 50-50 at the very worst case. And Trump will add with the white voters that are neocons and never Trumpers that didn't vote for him and the Mormons again. So he's going to do better. I think he'll get in the middle between McCain 2008 and Trump 2016, or let's say Romney 2012, Trump 2016. It'll be the middle of those. So that's a good thing. And then none of these races really matter too much. We look at our favorite congressman right now. Paul Gosar is my favorite congressman. Arizona House 4, 21 points Republican. It's very partisan, and it's very easy to win. Now, what's too bad is that we have Ann Ward getting over 37% of the vote. So it's too bad that this guy, who's in his like 5th or 6th term in the Congress, is getting substantially primaried on it. It's not good to see. It seems that he's a little too far right for the district, which is crazy because he's in a plus 20 congressional district. But at the same time, I think that it won't matter. As long as he keeps winning the primary, he'll stay in the Congress as long as he wants. So he can just relax in that respect. And then we look at Greg Stanton's seats in, I think, Phoenix, which is R+4. And David Gillis wins. David Giles is an old boomer. He's really cringe. I think he's going to lose to Stanton by like 2 or 3%. Kind of upsetting, not going to lie. Pretty gay. Barbara Bollier wins the Democratic primary. A former Republican, I think in 2018 she flipped, endorsed Laura Kelly against Chris Kobach. Laura Kelly killed Chris Kobach's career early, and clearly that was a foreshadowing of this terrible loss he had against this Roger Marshall establishment neocon, so to speak. And so far, America First candidates do not have a good track record. You look at Jeff Sessions got destroyed. You look at maybe, he lost 21% to Tommy Tuberville. We have Kobach that lost by I think 13% to Roger Marshall. We have Daniel McCarthy, who lost by over 55% to Martha McSally, of all people. She is supposedly unpopular, says some YouTubers. Clearly, they were wrong. And Razor Fist, the YouTuber, was right in this instance, okay? Michigan House 3, Peter Meyer, this redhead basically won pretty decisively. Owns a lot of chain stores over here in the Midwest, I believe, so that's good to see. He seems like a shoe-in to win Justin Amash seat. And good riddance to that libertarian scumbag who wants to abolish ICE. Lol, what a retard. And then let's keep going. Fred Upton wins. People keep talking about this guy. I have not the slightest idea who he is. Again, pretty interesting stuff. Charles Langworthy going against some Jew, Carl Levin, I think. He really decisively did win this primary, but at the same time, he seems like a pretty far-right candidate. He's definitely going to lose if that's the case. So, guys, stop trying to nominate these far-right politicians if they're going to lose. It's like the Bernie people that go for Biden. I think that we should go for the moderate Republicans if it's about electability. For example, I do not think that in, let's say, 2008, we needed a far-right candidate when we were already going to lose to Obama anyway. And I say that because there's a whole slew of legislative seats that we need to keep Republican. And in terms of the partisan composition of the Congress, I don't want to lose 5 to 10 seats because we nominated far-right candidates in purple districts, okay? And Newt Gingrich got this correct in the 1994 wave election for the Republicans. He handpicked all of the people that were running basically to the point where we flipped like, 40 seats or something insane like that. So it was very astounding what we could get when we arrange the nominees right. Eric Ishaki wins Michigan's 11th, which is good because he wants to lower H-1B visas, so that's great. Rashida Tlaib wins by over 30%, which is kind of depressing. I mean, I don't she's a terrible person in terms of politics, and I don't think she should be representing her district, even though it's super Democrat, but at the same time, they could use a better one. Now, I do like leftists, far leftists, winning positions of power in the respect that they will make the federal election easier for Donald Trump and others that are going to say, well, look at these far-end extremists in the Democratic Party. But at the same time, there's a decency thing, and I just don't want socialists in power anyway, even if it benefits the Republicans. So, I don't know. That's a tough one to know about. Okay, so let's go further down. No, wait, Michigan third. Let's talk about this one real quick. This one, Joe Farrington, this anti-Trump rhino, like terrible, like worse than Mitt Romney. He called Donald Trump a baby and an idiot, and he lost with only 4% of the vote. Very telling of what Michigan's 3rd district think about the president, and that is that they mostly approve of him, because if they didn't, well, they would have endorsed that pathetic rhino. And okay, completely verifiable now. Missouri Amendment 2 to Medicaid expansion in Missouri wins by about 6%, which is good. Missouri, not that important in terms of the primaries, not more than a couple seats in contention anyway. We go down to Washington, and Jay Inslee wins bigly. He wins that jungle primary, I believe, so not even a general election that he has to worry about, which sucks. And this Washington election, even congressionally, doesn't matter to me at all. So that's basically what we have for the decision desk results for the August 4th primary season or election day. Pretty important turnout. Very, very decisive in terms of who we're going to have in the Senate. Now it's official. Chris Kobach will not be in the Senate. It is official. Martha McSally's the nominee. And it is official that Peter Meyer is going to be replacing Homage probably in 2020. So that's pretty good news in general. So guys, thank you for watching this video. And I just want to leave you with the note that I think I was right about my last video. I said that I was endorsing Kobach, but it would have been close. Now I was wrong about it being close, but I was right that in not saying that Kobach would win, because a lot of idiots said that Kobach would win. And, you know, some people even said that, oh, I'm praying for Marshall to win. I'm praying for Kobach to win. And, oh, my God, he could still win this. All the votes are coming in. I'm going to kill myself. And if you're that invested in politics, it's kind of pathetic that you're crying over this. Like, maybe if Trump lost, I would, you know, tear up a little bit. But I think Senate, really, that's really gay. So stop being snowflakes. America First is inevitable, and I'm only talking about the groyper type thing. I do think that the America First candidates so far have a terrible record. I mean, James Tolp is gone. The black guy, okay, Pete Nebraska's gone. What's the black guy that lost to Scott Taylor? Jeremy Bell lost 3rd place there. We have Tuberville that beat Sessions. Sessions is gone. Kobach is gone. DeMan Daniel is gone. So America First has a terrible track record, and I think paleo-conservatives need to rethink their strategy, because clearly running in a purple state is so stupid, so dumb. Go ahead and run in Alaska, go run in Montana, stay out of Arizona. You're not going to win. My condolences to your people. Just kidding. Stay mad. Trump 2020. Thanks for watching. Thanks for 200 subs, guys.